The studio lights glowed warm as Michael Buble stepped onto Kelly Clarkson's set, smiling, waving, the crowd instantly on his side. The band played a smooth, jazzy riff as he crossed the stage, adjusting his jacket, flashing that familiar charm that had sold out arenas and holiday specials for years. Kelly stood to greet him, clapping enthusiastically, her smile wide and genuine as she pulled him into a friendly hug. The audience cheered louder, some people already on their feet, phones raised, ready to capture the moment. At first, everything felt effortless. Michael joked about jet lag, about how American coffee was stronger than anything back home, about how he'd promise himself he wouldn't sing unless Kelly forced him. She laughed loudly, tossing her head back, clearly enjoying his energy. They traded playful jabs about being parents, about sleepless nights and kids embarrassing them in public. The crowd laughed along, relaxed, comfortable, exactly how daytime television was supposed to feel. Kelly leaned forward, resting her elbow on the desk. "You've been doing this a long time," she said warmly. "You still look like you're having fun." Michael nodded. "I really am. I'm lucky. I get to make music I love, work with people I respect, and still be home enough to be a dad. That's the dream, right?" The audience applauded. Michael smiled, soaking it in, but there was a flicker in his eyes, something thoughtful, maybe even guarded. Kelly noticed but kept going, her tone casual. She shifted the conversation toward his new project, praising its polish and emotional depth. Michael thanked her, speaking about how personal the album was, how much control he'd insisted on having this time. That was the moment the air subtly changed. Kelly tilted her head, curious. "You've mentioned creative control a few times now," she said lightly. "Do you ever feel like you fight the industry more than you should? Like, do you think you're too careful sometimes?" It sounded harmless, almost playful. But Michael's smile paused, just for a second too long. He chuckled softly, buying time. "Careful," he repeated. "I don't know if that's the word I'd use." Kelly shrugged, still smiling. "I mean, fans always wonder why you don't experiment more. Different genres, bigger risks. You've got the voice, the fan base. Why not shake things up?" A ripple passed through the audience, interested, not uncomfortable yet. Michael leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms loosely. "Because I don't want to chase trends," he said, still calm. "I want to make music that feels honest to me." Kelly nodded, but she didn't let it drop. "Sure, but honesty can still evolve. Some people say you play it safe." There it was. The word hung in the air. Michael's jaw tightened slightly. He smiled again, but it didn't quite reach his eyes. "People say a lot of things," he replied. "Most of them haven't spent years building a career where every wrong move can change how you're seen forever." The crowd murmured softly. Kelly sensed the shift but pressed on, her voice still friendly, maybe a little too curious. "I just mean, don't you ever worry about becoming predictable?" For a brief moment, Michael looked out toward the audience instead of at Kelly. The band sat quietly now. No background music. No laughter to soften the edges. "Predictable," he echoed. "I sing standards. Jazz. Pop. That's not predictable, that's a tradition." Kelly laughed lightly, trying to keep it playful. Okay. I'm not attacking you. I'm just asking what fans ask." Michael leaned forward now, elbows on his knees. "But that's the thing," he said, his tone firmer. "When hosts repeat those questions, it turns curiosity into judgment." The room grew noticeably quieter. Kelly blinked, surprised. "I'm not judging you," she said quickly. "I admire you. I just like real conversations." "So do I," Michael replied, nodding. "But real conversations go both ways." The audience shifted in their seats. A few nervous laughs broke out, but they faded fast. Kelly straightened in her chair, her smile fading just a little. "Are you saying I crossed a line?" Michael exhaled slowly. "I'm saying it feels like I'm being boxed into a narrative I don't agree with." Kelly opened her mouth, then closed it again, choosing her words. "I think you might be taking this more personally than I meant it." Michael's eyes met hers, steady and unblinking. "That's possible. But it's my career, my art. I get defensive about it." There was an awkward pause, one of those moments television producers dread. The cameras stayed locked on both faces. Kelly tapped her fingers lightly on the desk, then tried to lighten the mood. "All right, let's switch gears. You're also known as one of the nicest guys in music." Michael shook his head slightly. See, that's another thing, he interrupted, not raising his voice, but no longer smiling. Even that becomes a label. Nice. Safe. Predictable. The audience gasped softly. Kelly leaned back, surprised. Michael, I'm giving you compliments. I know, he said, softer now, but still tense. And I appreciate them. Sometimes it feels like I'm expected to stay in a box that other artists get praised for breaking out of. Kelly crossed her arms, defensive but calm. Every artist deals with that. That's not unique to you. Michael's lips pressed together. He nodded once, slowly. True. But not every artist gets told to reinvent themselves just to prove they're relevant. Silence fell again, heavier this time. The warmth from earlier felt far away now, like it belonged to a different show entirely. Kelly glanced toward the producers off-camera, then back at Michael. I didn't mean for this to turn into something uncomfortable. Michael stood up slightly, then sat back down, clearly conflicted. His foot tapped against the floor. Neither did I. The audience waited, unsure whether to clap, laugh, or hold their breath. The tension was no longer subtle. It was thick, undeniable, stretching every second longer than it should have. Michael ran a hand over his face, forcing a small smile, but his eyes gave him away. Something had shifted inside him, and everyone in the room could feel it. Michael sat back down fully, but the ease he'd carried onto the stage never returned. His shoulders were tense now, posture rigid, like he was bracing himself. Kelly tried to reset the energy, forcing a light laugh as she glanced toward the audience. Well, this got real, she joked, clapping her hands once as if to shake the moment loose. A few people laughed, but it sounded thin, unsure. Michael smiled politely, but it was the kind of smile meant to end a conversation, not continue one. Yeah, he said quietly. It did. Kelly leaned forward again, softer this time. Look, I respect you a lot. I wouldn't ask these questions if I didn't think you could handle them. Michael nodded slowly. I can handle them, he replied. I just don't always agree with the framing. The band remained silent. Even the usual cutaway shots to the audience felt awkward now. Kelly adjusted the cards on her desk, buying herself a second. So let me reframe, she said. What excites you now? What still scares you creatively? Michael hesitated. For a brief moment, it seemed like he might answer. His fingers tapped together, and he inhaled as if preparing to open up. Then he stopped. His expression changed, not angry, but resolved. Honestly, he said. What scares me is having these moments turned into sound bites. Kelly's eyebrows lifted. That's not what we do here. Michael glanced toward the cameras lining the studio. It might not be what you intend, he said carefully, but it's what happens. A murmur rippled through the audience again, louder this time. Kelly's tone sharpened, just a notch. So why come on talk shows at all, then? The question landed heavier than she likely meant it to. Michael looked back at her, surprised. Because I enjoy genuine conversations, he answered. And because I thought this would be one. Kelly leaned back, crossing one leg over the other. It still can be. But you're shutting it down. Michael shook his head. No. I'm protecting it. There was a pause so long it felt intentional. Kelly glanced at the cue cards again, then set them down completely. I think we are talking past each other, she said. And that's not great TV. Michael gave a small, humorless laugh. On that, we agree. The audience reacted immediately. Some laughter, some gasps. Kelly inhaled sharply, clearly caught off guard. Michael. He raised a hand gently, not aggressive, but final. Kelly, I really respect you. I do. But I don't feel great about where this is going. Producers shifted off camera. One of them gestured subtly, suggesting a commercial break. Kelly noticed, then looked back at Michael. We can take a breath, she offered. Cut to break. Reset. Michael stood up. The movement alone sent a shock through the room. Chairs creaked. The audience went silent. Kelly stood halfway too, instinctively. You don't have to. I think I do, Michael said, his voice calm but firm. He buttoned his jacket, the same one he'd walked in wearing with confidence just minutes earlier. This isn't productive for me. Kelly looked genuinely stunned now. You're walking off. Michael nodded once. I am. The audience erupted, some clapping, some shouting his name, others murmuring in disbelief. Kelly took a step closer. "Michael, this isn't personal." He met her eyes. "For me, it is." For a moment, it looked like she might argue. Then she stopped herself. "All right," she said quietly. "That's your choice." Michael turned T.